Hello, everybody. Welcome back. First off, I want to apologize for missing last week. See, I've been moving, and I did not think it was going to be as consuming as it was. I've only just finished moving out of my house into this new space. Also, welcome to the new booth. If I could try. This is not the final setup. I still got to tweak and figure out, what the best setup for recording in here is going to be. But I got to get this episode out because I'm recording this Wednesday night because it's been a very busy few days. But thank you guys for bearing with me. Also, a couple of announcements. We broke through 1,000 subscribers, which blows my mind. Thank you to everybody. I know a lot of people are here from TikTok. So hello, if you came over. I think most of the TikTok people came from the music. But there will be an announcement about this, kind of an official 1K thank you video coming up pretty soon, probably this weekend, depends. But thank you guys for bearing with me last week. Sorry I couldn't even put out an announcement. It's been crazy. As always, thank you to, and there are several new ones, thank you to my Patreon supporters. You guys are amazing. There's been a lot more of you. We're getting ever closer to the day that I can quit my job. But until then, thank you guys. Your contributions mean so much to me. And they kind of give me a little bit of financial freedom to put more effort into these readings and music videos, so thank you. Without any further ado, though, I think we'll jump back in to The Legend of Luke by Brian Jacques, Chapter 18. Luke threw the first rope up into the darkness. A moment later, he heard the wooden bar tied to its end clack upon some rocks. He tugged it, making sure the bar held in the rocks it had wedged itself among. Paw over paw, Luke went up, whispering to Verg, "Follow on with the other rope, mate, but be quiet. We don't want to disturb any of those seabirds." Verg climbed up after him, and they balanced together, lodging their footpaws in the side of the fissure. Luke took the second rope and began twirling it, paying out the coils as he swung it wider before throwing it strongly upward. This time there was no sound of wood striking stone, but the rope went taut. A gruff, friendly voice called down in quaint speech, "I get it, sir. I'll make ye rope fast whilst ye clamber up here." Verg grabbed Luke's paw in the darkness. "Sounds like a mole to me. What do you think, Luke?" "Ah, 'tis a mole sure enough. Though what he's doing up on a cliff, I don't know. He sounds friendly enough, anyway. Come on." Both mice climbed until they reached a flat ledge, where there were several other moles and some hedgehogs to meet them. The mole who had hailed them took tinder and flint and lit a lantern, rumbling on in his curious mole dialect. "Ussens don't be getting mousy beasts a clambering up here to callin' us, sir, but welcome to ye anyways. I be Drun Tunneler, and these be my family. Yon hogs be the Tip-Tip brood, and that be Welf." A friendly-looking hedgehog wife in a broad, rough apron twitched her spikes and curtsied. "Pleased to meet ye, I'm sure. But what be ye good beasts doing up here in the dark night?" Luke introduced the party as they climbed up to the ledge. Then he explained the reason for their visit. "We came to take some of those berries and maybe some young plants whilst the seabirds were sleeping, ma'am. I'm sorry, though, I didn't realize they were your property." Welf brushed the apology aside cheerfully. "Oh, you take all the berries and shoots you need, my dearie. Rain's washed good soil back into this crevice for many a season. We've got raspberry, blackberry, all manner of berries growing hereabouts. Old Drun's father tunnelled through from here to the cliff tops long ago. We've got a cave back there. Now don't you bother us a mite. Now don't be afeard of the seabirds. We leaves 'em be, and they don't bother us a mite. Matter of fact, they makes good watch beasts in the daytime. Warns us if sea rogues be a-comin', so we can go and hide in our cave." Luke stared questioningly at Welf Tip-Tip. "Sea rogues?" "Ah, lack a day, sir, don't you know about those bad beasts? Why, they come to this north coast often as not." Luke began to feel the first stirrings of unease. "But there's nothing to be had on the northern coast. Why do they choose to put in here?" Drun Tunneler waved a huge digging claw. "There be no beasts here to worry about, sir, so they'm coming to take on fresh water, patchy sails, repair ships, and so forth. For they'm scummin' villains." Welf nodded in agreement to her mole friend. So they are. We hides in our caves and always stay clear till those bad beasts are gone. Else we'd get slayed or taken for slaves by 'em. Oh, Luke, sir, what be the matter with you? Do you not feel well? Though the night was cold, Luke felt suddenly hot and sick. Further south, down the shoreline, my tribe have lit a big bonfire on the shore. We didn't think there'd be any danger this far north. Drun's big digging claws took hold of Luke's shoulders. You must hurry, sir. Do we take ye mosey be son back with all haste? Dousey flames and put you out on fire. It'd be like a beacon to we sea rogues. I beg ye, hurry! Welf called after the party of mice scrambling down the cliff. Good luck to you, Sir Luke. We'll follow you in the morn with baskets of berries and whatever plants you may need. I and Drun's moles will show you how to hide your dwellings from the sight of sea rogues. Welf's words were lost upon Luke and his friends. They were already down and charging along the shoreline, headlong, with old Twula hobbling in their wake. Dawn came wild and angry. Cold, howling easterly gales swept the shoreline sand, piling it in buttresses against rocks and whipping grains widespread across the ebbing tide. Drun Tunneler and Welf Tip-Tip led their little band along the beach, bearing between them the promised baskets of berries and young plants. Wearing cowled cloaks and mufflers over their noses and mouths, they pressed on gallantly toward Luke's encampment, heads bowed against the weather's onslaught. To cover her anxiety, Welf chattered feverishly to her mole friend. Now, if it were late spring and the weather milder, a body would expect sea rogues to be visiting our shores. Any beast afloat in stormy seas like this time is not but a fool. I know 'twasn't wise for Luke and his mice to light great fires on the shore, but I reckon mayhap no harm it will befall them. Eh, Drun? The mole was about to agree with her when a fierce gust of sand-gritted wind caused him to turn his face seaward. He groaned aloud and dropped his basket. Grr, no! Look yon! 'Tis a girt red ship! Through the fleeting spume of sand and seawater, Welf glimpsed the mighty bulk of the Gore Leech, her crimson stern riding high on the main, red sails bellying tight as she sped westward out onto the deep. The good hogwife stood watching the fearful sight, tears mingling with the grit sticking to her face, and she moaned like a stricken beast. Oh, lackaday, the red ship! Fortunes and fates a pity on those poor mice! Drun grabbed her paw, signaling to his friends to follow. Come on, missus, he beast been eating our help! Verg was covered in swirling wood ashes from the scattered fire embers. He sat on the shore, lost in a dumb trance. Between them, Drun and Welf shouldered his paw, steering him to the meager lot of survivors who huddled forlornly in the mouth of Luke's cave. Old Twula was the only mouse who seemed to be able to explain what had taken place.
Friends, you come at a terrible time for us. Many graves will need to be dug in these blood-stained sands.
Welf spoke softly to the old one. Now that she had recovered from her first shock, she was all business. Aye, 'tis so, but first we must attend to the living. Drun, will you light a fire in this cave and set water to boil? Our family will prepare food for you. Dig out yon any old linen you possess. We'll need bandages. As the moles and hedgehogs took care of the shore mice, their dreadful tale came out piecemeal. There was hundreds of 'em. We didn't stand a chance. It was a massacre. Only those out looking for firewood escaped. We could do nothing to stop those evil killers.
Winfred was lucky. She ran out to the shore with the babe, stumbled and fell. Her cloak was over them both, and the wind covered it with sand and hid them. 'Tis a wonder little Martin wasn't smothered.
Windred sat by the fire, washing sand from the babe's face and with warm water in the hem of her dress.
Aye, and he never made a single sound the old time. Poor little mite. They slew his mother. Scum they are. I'll remember that one's name to my dying day. Vilu Daskar. She tried to fight him off with a stick, but he had a big curved blade. He was shouting his own name, Vilu Daskar, and enjoying what he was doing. That stoat was laughing as he cut my daughter down, laughing like a mad beast.
Drun looked up from a wound he was attending to. Hey, master, a red ship shows mercy to no beast, marmure. But where be's our Luke? The young mouse Timbalisto, who had survived by climbing the cliff face, nodded towards the sea. Luke's out there, but no beast can come near him, sir. Waist deep in the sea stood Luke, buffeted by the cold waves, with ice forming on his tear-stained features, as he gazed westerly after the red ship, which was now naught but a blurred dot, far out on the horizon. Tula shook his head sadly.
He will not even look upon his own son, or his wife's mother. Alas, he has no ship to sail after the murderers, but he would have ended up slain if he did. Either way, I think Luke will die and be swept away when the tide turns. His life has been destroyed, and he cannot exact a warrior's vengeance upon the sea rogues. Luke has no will to live.
Welf hitched up her apron decisively. She turned from the sight of the forlorn creature standing in the sea to those who stood watching.
I ain't having this. By the paws and prickles, I ain't. You there, Cardo, go and fetch a stout rope. Verg, give that stave you carry to Drun. That little mouse babe's not growing up without a father. Twula, get every able-bodied beast out here. Move!
Galvanized into action by Welf's no-nonsense manner, they dispersed quickly into their allotted tasks. Drun Tunneler tied the rope around his middle and gripped Verg's stave tight. I never was one for paglin' in the sea, marm. The hogwife eyed him sternly. She was not about to be disobeyed in any circumstances.
Go to it, Drun, afore Luke freezes to death.
The mole trundled dutifully off into the sea. "'Tis a good job, I trust, is he, missus?" Luke was totally unaware of the mole waiting up behind him, his eyes fixed on the horizon where the gore leech had disappeared from sight. Drun heaved an unhappy sigh. "I hates to do this, Sir Luke, but 'tis for thine own good and the infant too, right?" With one blow of the stout beech stave, he knocked Luke unconscious. Looping the rope about Luke so that they were bound together, Drun called back to the watchers on shore. "You heave away first. I'm most colded to death out here." Willing Paws pulled the rope swiftly onto dry land. The days that followed were hard upon the survivors. They buried their dead, and would have gone on mourning all season, but for the help of the moles and hedgehogs. Welf chided them ruthlessly, and Drun bullied them cheerfully, until they began to pick up the pieces and go on with the business of living. Luke recovered, but he spoke to none, sitting silently at the back of his cave, gazing into the fire. Every once in a while he would wander out into the night, and the sleepers would be awakened by his roaring down at the water's edge, shouting one name. "Viludaska! Viludaska! Viludaska!" The morning following one such night, Luke's cave had become the meeting place for every beast. They were gathered around the fire, breakfasting on hot oat cakes and blackberry preserve. Welf brewed a big pot of mint and comfrey tea, which they sipped as they ate. Luke had returned from the sea's edge, and he lay on a rocky ledge, wrapped in his cloak, sleeping. Cardo had a flat driftwood board, and his knife was heating in the flames as he announced to the gathering, "I'm going to burn the names of our lost ones onto this wood with my knife point. Don't let me forget any beast. I'll fix it in the sand on top of the big grave. Agreed?" Young Timbalisto sniffed and rubbed a paw at his eyes.
Will you put Fripple's name on it, sir?
Cardo took his blade from the fire. He smiled sadly. "Of course I will, Timbo. How could I forget my own daughter? I'll put a little flower after it. She'd like that." To break the atmosphere, Welf turned their attention to the baby Martin.
"Dearie me, would you look at that, mate? He's out of his cradle again. Where's he a-crawling to now?"
Windred knew.
"He's after his father's sword again. Watch."
The solemn, chubby mouse babe crawled over until he could get his paw on Luke's sword hilt. He sat quietly enough, trying to lift the weapon, which was twice his height. Drun squinted his eyes admiringly at the babe's efforts. "Ye vermins beware when that un grows." Windred looked across Martin's sleeping father.
"Aye, and bad fortune to any sea rogues when Luke awakens properly. He will. You mark my words. I know him."
And that's where we'll call it tonight. We'll pick up next week with Chapter 19. Thank you guys so much for bearing with me in the confusion of the move and everything. It means a lot to me. Thank you to any new subscribers who are picking up on the stories. If you guys, for those of you who read, if you're on TikTok, apparently I'm doing well. If you like musical theater and Dungeons and Dragons content, that's what I'm doing over there. Patreon supporters also, thank you guys once again. Patreon supporters know that some changes are coming. If you'd like to be aware of updates before I give them in general, definitely go support me over there. There is a $1 tier now, so if you'd like, just $1 a month. And if not, that's totally fine. Thank you for watching. Remember to like, share, subscribe, the whole YouTube thing. And I'll see you guys next week, and maybe we'll have a little bit more of this situation sorted out. Thank you guys. Stay safe. Wash your hands. And I'll see you next time.